Coming up at 6, after a cooler start to the week, get ready for temperatures to really drop overnight.
An explosive First Amendment case, and at the heart of it, the NRA. I'm Molly Martinez at the Supreme Court with that story.
Plus, online sales began this morning for an over-the-counter contraceptive pill, with doctors saying it will be a major benefit for women who live in remote areas or can't travel. That and more right now on Heartland News at 6.
Your first alert station, KFVS 12. Heartland News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Today marks 99 years since one of the largest natural disasters in U.S. history killed hundreds of people in Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana.
The tri-state tornado is still known as the most devastating tornado to ever hit the U.S. Nikki Clark is live in the studio with more.
Kathy, Jeff, that tornado devastated multiple Heartland communities back in 1925, and many of those communities still commemorate the day almost 100 years later. In Jackson County, Illinois, March 18th is a day of remembrance.
Here in Jackson County, there were over 300 individuals that perished that day.
Scott Johnson is the president of the Jackson County Historical Society. Inside the building, a wall full of old picture frames show the magnitude of damage left behind by the tri-state tornado in 1925.
Left Murfreesboro pretty much destroyed. It wiped Gorham completely off the map. DeSoto was in pretty bad shape as well.
Johnson says it's a storm that caught everyone by surprise.
They didn't have any kind of warning because there weren't warnings. Nothing like what we have today.
And what was horrible is over 500 people basically lost their lives in a 42-minute time span here in the Heartland, from Beeley over towards West Frankfort.
First Alert Chief Meteorologist Grant Dade says forecasting has come a long way in the past 99 years.
Nowadays, we understand all the different variables and shapes of tornadoes, but back in 1925, everybody assumed a tornado was that slender funnel.
He says the technology we have now,
the biggest contribution would be Doppler radar, because we would have seen this on Doppler. We would have seen it forming more than likely before it touched down. A tornado like that, though, would still cause significant destruction and probably loss of life, but I doubt we would see that number of almost 700 fatalities.
Still to this day, it is known as the worst tornado in the history of the United States.
Next year, the Jackson County community will mark the 100th anniversary. Memorials on every grave, panels about the tornado, and teaching material for schools. But he tells me an important thing to know is how these communities were able to heal from the disaster.
It was basically gone, and it came back and was still a thriving community for a long, long time afterwards.
The Historical Society is also working to create a monument to honor all of the lives lost in that tornado. You can find out more under this story on our website. In the studio, Nikki Clark, Heartland News.
All right, let's take a look at what we are watching for this week. Thankfully, we're not watching for severe weather of any kind, but a hard freeze tomorrow morning. We gave you your first alert of this last week, and it's still looking like mid-20s are likely across a good bit of the area as you wake up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we will see an elevated fire danger thanks to the 35-mile-per-hour wind gust and the big warm-up. Some places are going to see a 40-degree temperature swing, if not more, from low to high. Yeah, we don't see that very often unless the air mass is very, very dry. And First Alert Doppler Network is showing you a dry air mass, no rainfall out there. Temperatures, they are already cooling down. 37 right now, Mount Vernon, 40 in Harrisburg, 44 in Cape Girardeau. When you factor in the winds, feels like 38 Cape Girardeau, 33 in Mount Vernon and in Harrisburg. We're going to take a look at that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
The criminal cases against 2 former employees of the Kelly School District move forward this spring. According to the Scott County prosecuting attorney, 38-year-old Lindsay Limbaugh heads to court for a trial setting on April 3rd. Limbaugh is charged with 2 felony counts of sexual contact with a student. She pleaded not guilty and waived her preliminary hearing back in January. Meanwhile, 27-year-old Kristen Kirker's next court appearance will also be a trial setting on May 9th. The former teacher's aide at the district pleaded not guilty to 2 felony charges of sexual contact with a student.
We are just a few months away from the grand opening of the new terminal at the Cape Girardeau Regional Airport. This is new video from the construction site. Crews broke ground on the $12 million project less than a year ago. When it's finished, officials say the 20,000 square foot facility will offer a better flow for travelers. The new terminal is expected to be finished on June 28th.
Democrats in Illinois support a bill that would create a system to capture and store carbon. They say the move is supported by a coalition of business, labor, and agriculture groups and is necessary for the state to meet its clean energy goals.
We have to look for new ways to stop damaging carbon from going into our environment and warming the planet, and carbon capture technology can do that.
Illinois found investing in carbon capture and storage technology could create more than 14,000 jobs and generate more than $3 billion for the state's economy over a decade.
Nashville Metro Police released this new video of 22-year-old Riley Strain. He's seen talking with the Metro officer just minutes before he disappeared in downtown Nashville. Investigators
say he did not look distressed and he was not stumbling like he is seen doing in other videos. Brendan Tierney has a closer look.
This new police body camera video shows Riley walking right here along Gay Street before he disappeared on Friday night.
How you doing, sir? I'm good. How are you? Good.
That's the brief interaction Riley had with a Metro police officer who was responding to a car burglary call. Police say the officer was in the area for 45 minutes after talking with Riley and didn't see what happened to the 22-year-old when his phone was last tracked about 5 minutes later. The search is centered here, and community members like Seth Reynolds are now jumping in on their own to help look along the river.
It's not easy to get around down there. A lot of the rocks turned over when we were walking over them, and branches falling off if you're trying to grab on and stuff. So that's why we were down there, though, just to see if there was any evidence of falling or sliding or anything like that, and we weren't able to see anything like that either.
Over the weekend, TikTok influencers found Riley's bank card under the bridge, but there have been no other signs of Riley. Metro police say they don't have any video that shows Riley outside of this Gay Street area after 9:52 p.m.
It's also been a day since two women found Strain's bank card near the Cumberland River. The women had been searching since early Sunday morning. They climbed down to the riverbank, they say, and sorted through tons of trash. They say they were looking for Strain's shoes or his blue wallet.
There is so much trash down there, and it's so much to sit through. There are so many pieces of clothing, shoes, bottles, cans, everything. I don't really know how we found it. I would love to say just dumb luck, divine intervention. It was just sitting there.
Police have not said what the bank card means for their search, but in the meantime, the women say they will continue theirs.
Your keys are waiting, so think Chris Offenberg Cape Hyundai.
Your first alert station, KFVS 12. You're watching Heartland News at 6.
The NRA is usually seen defending the Second Amendment.
Today, the group found itself at the center of a First Amendment free speech case. Marley Martinez has that story.
A lot of fundamental questions were asked inside the Supreme Court Monday, including how much influence should a federal regulator have over private companies? And to what and to whom does the First Amendment apply?
Following the 2018 shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School that killed 17 and left 17 others wounded, a New York State regulator urged companies to cut ties with the National Rifle Association. The NRA is now suing, saying that's a violation of their First Amendment rights.
It was a campaign by the state's highest political officials to use their power to coerce a boycott of a political advocacy organization because they disagreed with its advocacy.
Lawyer David Alter argues it's within the right of a regulator to influence groups with which they work.
It's important for the government that's elected to express its policy views and the way it thinks about the world and how people should act.
Justices seemed divided on the issue.
Retaliation is a familiar concept in a lot of our case laws.
How do we avoid a world in which advocacy organizations are exempt from regulation?
A ruling in this case is expected by June. At the Supreme Court, I'm Molly Martinez.
All righty, let's take a look at our weather watchers, all kind of hanging out in the lower 40s right now. A chilly evening shaping up for us. We'll take a look at those cold temperatures for overnight tonight coming up.
The Heartland Home Show returns March 20.
Health officials say significant advances in myeloma therapies are helping patients live longer. Myeloma is a cancer of the plasma cells and most often strikes people over 45. Experts say it impacts more than 30,000 people in the U.S. every year, and it can lead to anemia, bone destruction, and kidney failure. And while there's no cure, doctors say training and treatment has led to a shift in survival rates.
Over 25 years ago, patients had an average life expectancy of about 2 years. Nowadays, many patients can expect to live 10, 15, and even sometimes 20 years after their diagnosis.
That doctor says as research continues and with more advances in available treatments, he's hopeful myeloma will become a curable disease.
New today, President Biden is issuing an executive order and new actions to advance women's health research and innovation. The executive order works to ensure that women's health is integrated and prioritized across research from various agencies. Along with that executive order, President Biden also announced more than 20 new actions and commitments from the federal agencies regarding women's health.
Women don't have the answers they need when they go to the doctor's office and ask what can often be basic questions about their health. So it's everything from, knowing that women make up 2/3 of those with Alzheimer's, but we don't really know why. It's about women being disproportionately affected by autoimmune conditions, and we don't know why.
It includes the launch of a new National Institutes of Health effort directing investments of $200 million to fund new women's health research.
The first over-the-counter birth control pill with no age restriction in the U.S. is now available to buy online.
Healthcare experts say this marks a major milestone to access to contraception in the United States. Michael Yoshida has the story.
For the first time in U.S. history, online orders have begun for over-the-counter birth control pills. There are no age restrictions and no prescription necessary.
I think is a win for everybody. It allows improved access to contraceptive care to women. It is also, I think, financially very doable.
Perrigo, the company behind the pill, says 1-month packs will be sold with a suggested price of $19.99. Approved by the FDA last year, the company says O-Pill is 98% effective at preventing pregnancy when taken as directed at the same time every day. OBGYN Dr. Sujatha Reddy says most hormonal birth control pills contain both progestin and estrogen, which for some can carry risk of blood clots, heart attacks, affect migraine headaches, and shouldn't be used by smokers over 35. But O-Pill uses only progestin to prevent pregnancy.
There are some people who should not take the estrogen combination pills, but for them, O-Pill is probably safe.
She says the list of people who shouldn't take progestin-only pills for medical reasons is very short, including those with certain conditions like breast cancer or liver disease, or if they're taking certain medications.
In general, birth control is very safe, and I think we're seeing improved access because it's been around for so long, and we know it's very safe.
Following the online launch, O-Pill is expected to hit shelves later this month at major retailers and pharmacies, including Walgreens and CVS. I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
According to the company, orders will be fulfilled within a day or two. They will be sent in plain unbranded boxes for customer privacy.
First Alert Weather with Grant Dade is sponsored by St. Francis Healthcare System.
Once again this evening, we are dry on First Alert Doppler Network. It's not going to rain this evening. It's going to be cold out there, though. The winds are going to begin to relax a little bit, especially around 10, 11 o'clock tonight. But that light wind is going to let those temperatures go way, way down tonight. Look at this. Some places will already be below freezing by 10 o'clock. So, yeah, if you're going to be out late tonight, you'll want the jacket. We told you last week, hope you didn't put away your coats because it was going to be cold tonight. And sure enough, it's going to be cold overnight tonight. Everybody waking up to sub-freezing temperatures tomorrow morning, well down in the 20s. We could see some of our protected valleys get awfully close to 20 overnight tonight in our Ozark counties. But quickly rebounding tomorrow with a strong southwesterly wind. And this is why we say we have an elevated fire danger tomorrow, especially during the afternoon hours. As that temperature rises and the dew point stays very, very low, that makes the relative humidity very, very low. You factor that in with the Past couple of days, we've had to dry out the vegetation and the strong winds, drying it out even more throughout the day. So we got dry air, we got dry vegetation, and we got strong gusty winds. That is a recipe for fires to get out of control, and we don't want that. So I just tell everybody, no burning tomorrow. Just don't do it. I mean, we got gusty winds out there, dry air. It's just not a good thing to do. So let's hold off until we get a little more moisture in the atmosphere and a little less wind. Now, Wednesday morning will not be as chilly because we're going to stay with southerly winds overnight, tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, but a little reinforcing shot of cooler air is going to make its way in Wednesday evening. We'll switch the winds out of the north and northeast. And we're watching a pre-dawn disturbance on Thursday morning. Watch it. It's chilly, and yeah, there could be some rain, maybe a sleet pellet or two. Right now, we're leaving the forecast pretty much dry on Thursday, but we will continue to monitor that closely as we head throughout the week. Either way you slice it, very light, very isolated, very little impact. Mid-20s, Fredericktown down to Kennett. Well, a few upper 20s are possible out there. Again, about 5 degrees cooler in those protected valleys out in our western counties. Mid to upper 20s from Perryville down to Caruthersville, clear skies. And low to mid-20s, Mount Vernon to mid-20s elsewhere from Mount Vernon down towards Union City. Big rebound. Look at this. Upper 60s, mid to upper 60s in our western counties. Lots and lots of sunshine. Mid-60s, mid to low 60s basically from our Perryville down to Caruthersville. And again, our northwestern counties will be the warmest tomorrow as we get that downslope effect off the Ozarks. That's why you saw Perryville much warmer than Caruthersville. Mid-60s north to low 60s and upper 50s in our far southern counties tomorrow afternoon from Mount Vernon to Union City. 64 on Wednesday, 57 on Thursday. Again, cloudy. We're watching that little disturbance early Thursday morning. Right now, not a lot of moisture for it to work with. Another little disturbance on Friday could bring a slim chance of a shower. Right now, the weekend's looking pretty decent. Watching the beginning of next week closely. Now, we're going to have the wind shear for strong storms in place, but right now, doesn't look like a lot of heat energy. So it's something we'll monitor closely as we head towards the beginning of next week.
Now, Heartland Sports with Luke Randall.
Hello everyone, all basketball right now. All district selections releasing today for Missouri high school basketball classes 4 through 6, and we got a lot of talent to talk about, players and coaches. Let's take a look. Class 4, lots of talent, 5 different schools represented here, very impressive. Despite Doniphan's 6-17 record, the Dons boasted Player of the Year Emmett Jones along with sophomore Corey Haygood. And then take a look at Class 4, District 1 in the girls' side. It's a full board here. Everyone selected. 3 Danette's place on the board. Kenzie Reedus, Player of the Year. And the district champs Notre Dame also boast 3 selections, Navia Lucius and the Rubel twins. Another thing to note, Doniphan head coach Adam Epps wins Coach of the Year after leading his squad to at one point an undefeated regular season and the #1 ranking in the state. Class 5, Cape Central and Sikeston dominate. Dontrez Williams gets Player of the Year. 4 Cape Central players are represented, and Coach Greg Hollifield of those Sikeston Bulldogs wins Coach of the Year. Sikeston and Cape also represented on the girls' side. You can see Imani Summers and Landry Hammondtree also earning selections. And then in Class 6, a dynamic duo at Jackson, Koldeck, Blaine Harris, both make a very talented all-district squad. They led the way for Jackson, who lost in the district final to eventual state champ Cardinal Ritter. And then on the girls' side for Class 6, Jackson present again with 2 more players, along with Zanier from Poplar Bluff. Congrats to all the all-district selections. All state selections should be coming out soon. Now, college basketball, March Madness. We have a date for UT Martin's first game of the year in March Madness, rather. You can see the Skyhawks excited there. They're a 16 seed in the first 4. They'll face the Holy Cross Crusaders Thursday at 8 p.m. on ESPN2. The game will be in Iowa City, Iowa. Winner faces Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes.
Robinson Construction is proud to continue our support for Missouri's national.
All right, another look at the 7-day forecast. A cold start to the day tomorrow, well down in the 20s, but a warm end. Very breezy. Again, got an elevated fire danger. A few clouds on Thursday, a little cooler. The weekend right now, not looking too bad. Highs in the low to mid 60s. Our next chance of thunderstorms could be next Monday.
All right, thank you, Grant. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good evening. We'll see you back here tonight for Heartland News at 9 and 10.